Everything about animation in Japan today is a result of decades and decades of stylistic evolution. Changes in technology, important cultural events, economic shifts, they all contribute to the slowing timeline of anime. Music styles, alongside these animation styles, can change drastically in just a few years, triggered by something as small as a new series or movie. There are fascinating and very clear patterns in tell through the trends that develop through the years within the music. It's important and interesting to see how many openings have linked together through one web of influence. In this next part of the video, we will discuss some of the most popular anime openings from the 90s in depth. I'm starting off with Sailor Moon, and the opening for this anime is entitled Moonlight Densetsu. Unfortunately, I was only able to retrieve an English version as the Japanese was hard to find and obtain due to copyright reasons. Cuban musical style. The song is in B minor and it includes suspended chords and flat sevens, which provides an epic feeling rather than, a sad feeling that typically comes with a minor key. There are no secondary dominants and there is lots of chromaticism in this opening. There is a female vocalist. It's also in this 80s synth pop style and the lyrics are written in relation to the story. So the Sailor Scouts and Sailor Moon come to fight the forces of evil and save the day. Sailor Moon is a series of Japanese anime and manga made in the 1990s. It was so popular and influential in Japan that the anime was met with an enthusiastic reception among girls and young women in the United States. Sailor Moon is considered one of the first mass cultural productions to present images of girl power and gender equality. This brought along a huge cultural impact, and an article in Variety even stated that the Walt Disney Company was interested in acquiring some rights to create a live-action film. There was stage musicals, there was live-action series, there was video games, tabletops, even theme park attractions and ice skating shows. They also made a remake of the anime in 2015 with new animation style. And yeah, this concludes Sailor Moon.
The next show is Cowboy Bebop, and that theme song is Tank. Tank was written by Yoko Kanno and was performed by a band that she performed for the show called the Seatbelts. It's in a Latin hard bop style, very, very jazzy. It's in C minor, 138 beats per minute. There's a brass section, an electric organ, upright bass, drum kit, bongos, and it's pretty simple, but it alludes to the basic premise of these characters who are bounty hunters, and there's a lot of crazy adventures they get into. So the plot is essentially, it's set in 2071, roughly 50 years after an accident where the hyperspace gateway made the Earth almost uninhabitable, and humanity has colonized most of the solar system. And over the course of the series, the team get involved in what's described as disastrous mishaps, leaving them without money while often confronting faces and events from their past. In terms of cultural impact, the anime was incredibly popular when it aired, and even today it's still very popular. There was a video game made, there was talks of a live-action movie to be released in the early 2000s, but unfortunately it fell through. There is an animated movie that came out that was pretty popular. So in terms of cultural impact, it was really just the anime being incredibly popular and the animated movie that came out pretty soon to when the series ended.
Hi, my name is JT Miller, and the anime I'll be going over is Inuyasha. Inuyasha is basically it starts off as a love story between, of course, Inuyasha and Kikyo, and it's about this pursuit of this jewel of power that is hidden in Kikyo. This other guy named Naruku kind of wants Kikyo to herself, and so he disguises himself as Inuyasha, and he hurts Kikyo, of course disguises him, and so Kikyo, thinking it was Inuyasha who hurt her, has to like shoot him in the chest with this arrow and kind of curses him until she dies, and then she's reincarnated, and that person who is the reincarnated version of Kikyo comes and frees Inuyasha, and they protect this village from demons. The theme song I'll be doing is Change the World. It's performed by V6. It's in G major. It's kind of like a pop style. Theme songs in Japan are just as popular as normal pop music. And so I think it's maybe like the top 5 pop theme songs in in Japan at that time. It was a synthesizer and drum set, and it's kind of the whole mood around Inuyasha is kind of hope, and so that's what the theme song kind of brings out. Kind of like Netflix, it shows you previews of stuff you already saw or kind of events that you haven't seen yet, so it kind of keeps you interested to kind of figure out what goes on. But yeah, that's the anime Inuyasha.
My name is Alyssa Gallegos. I'm going to be talking about Dragon Ball Z. So the Dragon Ball Z anime opened in 1989. It was recorded in Japanese and in English. Its key for the theme song, Cha La He Cha La, it was an E major, which had a modulation to D major for the chorus. It uses a flat 3 chord in the verse and chorus, and there's a male singer. The type of song is an 80s rock style with vocals, and the instruments it uses are synthesizer, electric guitar, drums, and intro. It has motivational lyrics, which makes the theme song relatable to its plot. And the plot, Dragon Ball Z, picks up 5 years after the end of Dragon Ball anime, with Goku now a young adult and father to his son Gohan. The cultural impact that I noticed it had, Dragon Ball Z is a Japanese anime television series produced by Toei Animation. Dragon Ball Z is a sequel to the Dragon Ball anime and adapts the latter 325 characters of the original 519-character Dragon Ball Madness series, which was created by Akira that were published from 1988 to 1995. Dragon Ball Z first aired in Japan from April 26, 1989 to January 31st, 1996, before being dubbed in several territories around the world, including United States, Australia, Europe, India, and Latin America.
The commonalities between these 4 openings made a huge influence on the way composers and music writers create anime openings today. We noticed that 3 of the 4 openings were in a minor key, yet still managed to sound heroic, epic, and happy. This is due to the fact that the songs included flat 7s, and more of our research concluded that every song on the list included a suspended chord. This resulted in every opening creating that anime sound that listeners tend to indicate and enjoy when listening to the music. This small factor in the music was able to advance itself throughout the decades and result in some of the most complex yet memorable anime openings of all time.